We are taught to fear sadness, to see it as weakness. So we learn to wear a mask, not of wood but of fire anger. Anger is hot, loud, and pushes the world away, creating a barrier no one dares to cross. It feels like strength, but beneath the flames, sadness shivers unseen. When a child's vulnerability is met with impatience or scorn, they learn their sorrow isn't welcome. The sadness doesn't vanish. It goes underground, transforming into anger. Anger becomes the guardian of our wounds, the only emotion allowed to speak. The world mistakes this anger for our true self, labeling us as difficult or volatile. But the anger is a performance, a desperate act of self-preservation. It's the only language we have to say, "I'm in pain," but few understand it. People react to the heat and retreat, deepening our isolation. The mask of fire is exhausting to wear, requiring constant vigilance to keep the flames alive. The anger must always be directed outward, never inward, to avoid the sadness beneath. Living as a fortress is lonely and draining. We stand guard over our hearts, but we are also prisoners of the walls we built. The mask that once protected us now keeps us trapped. True safety never comes from hiding our pain. Only by facing what's beneath the fire can we begin to heal. The mask of anger is not our true face. It's a call for help, waiting to be answered. Childhood is where our emotional armor is forged. In a nurturing world, sadness would be met with comfort, but many of us were told to hide our tears. We learned to see our feelings as wrong, believing we must hide our pain to be loved. The message sadness is dangerous, leading to rejection. So anger becomes our substitute, making us feel powerful when we feel small. A child denied grief may become angry at the world. A sensitive child mocked may develop a sharp wit as a shield. This armor becomes part of us, so familiar we forget it's there. It dictates how we move through life, always strong, never breaking down. But this strength is born of a wound. The armor keeps out pain, but also blocks true connection. It stunts our growth, trapping feelings that should flow freely. Unfelt emotions don't disappear. They create pressure within us. This pressure seeks release, often as tension, illness, or outbursts. The protector becomes the jailer. Our armor, meant to keep us safe, ends up keeping us alone. Healing begins when we recognize the armor and dare to take it off. An outburst of anger is rarely about the present moment. It's the final leak in a dam built over years of unprocessed sadness and pain. Each disappointment, each unmourned loss adds to the pressure. One small trigger cracks the vessel, releasing a flood of old grief. The person on the receiving end sees only the outburst, not the lifetime of pain behind it. Afterward, we feel shame and confusion. It wasn't really us, but the wounded child within. Anger is a broadcast from the past, a cry from an old wound. Understanding this reframes anger as a symptom, not a flaw. Instead of asking, "Why am I so angry?" we can ask, "What sadness is my anger protecting?" The storm is a message. The walls are failing, and our grief needs to flow. The leak is an invitation to heal. Only by listening to the storm can we find peace. If some of what I'm saying is hitting too close, maybe it's time to process what's been buried. I recommend online therapy. It's private, deeply effective, and based on real cognitive behavioral therapy. You can talk to a licensed therapist through video or even just WhatsApp messages. Use code therapy20 for 20% off. The link is in the description. This isn't weakness, it's a weapon. Many of us carry grief so old it feels like part of our personality. We mistake cynicism or irritability for who we are, never questioning their roots. This unseen grief is a heavy cloak, shaping our lives and coloring our world. It filters our experiences, making joy and trust feel foreign. The pain is familiar, so we cling to it, fearing the vulnerability of hope. Our bodies remember what our minds forget. Grief lives in our tissues, manifesting as tension or fatigue. These symptoms are the body's way of telling our story. Healing begins by recognizing the cloak and questioning our assumptions. Is this really me, or is it old sadness? Turning on the light lets us see the cloak for what it is, a garment we can choose to remove. Once we see it, we can begin to let it go. Our true self is waiting beneath the weight. Freedom starts with awareness. Let me ask you this. When you've been angry, what emotion was really underneath? Drop it in the comments. You might help someone realize they're not alone. Healing begins with the courage to look in the mirror, not at our face, but at our soul. We've avoided this gaze, fearing the sadness and vulnerability within. Anger distracts us, keeping our focus outward. But when we look with compassion, we see the pain beneath the anger. We may glimpse our younger self, frozen in loneliness. The goal isn't to fix, but to acknowledge, I see you. You are welcome here. This acceptance is transformative, dissolving the belief that our sadness is unlovable. As we accept ourselves, the mask of anger loses its power. The guardian can relax, the master has come home. The mirror also reveals our true strength, not the brittle strength of anger, but the resilience of vulnerability. We realize we can hold our own sorrow. The one we feared is the one who holds our freedom. Self-compassion is the key to healing. The mirror shows us we are enough. We've spent our lives fighting the current of our own sadness, building walls of anger and denial. True peace comes not from fighting harder, but from gentle surrender. Surrender means allowing sadness to be present, sitting with it as it flows through us. We notice its sensations, breathe into them, and let the tears come. We're not drowning, we're letting the river move through us. Each tear is a release, a piece of the heavy cloak falling away. At first it feels overwhelming, but the river has a destination, peace. The only way out is through. By surrendering, we rob sadness of its power. It becomes a messenger, not a monster. In this surrender, we find a new strength, the power to feel. We learn we are strong enough to hold all our emotions. Presence is our true power. Healing is letting go, not holding on. The final stage is uncloaking. As we allow sadness to flow, the old cloak of grief and anger slips away. We feel lighter, more able to breathe. Beneath the cloak, we find our true self, open, sensitive, capable of deep connection. Vulnerability becomes our strength. Living uncloaked, we no longer see threats everywhere. We meet the world with calm and empathy because we've learned to offer it to ourselves. The fortress of isolation gives way to connection. We realize we were never truly alone. True freedom isn't the absence of pain, but the absence of fear. We can handle whatever arises within us. Real strength is the courage to be vulnerable and let go. Standing uncloaked, we are finally at peace, ready to meet the world with an open heart. If this video made you think, that means there's truth in it. Please like the video and show this channel some support. Don't run from what you're carrying. Face it. If you're on the journey of emotional mastery, subscribe because we go deep without the fluff, and check the link in the description if you're ready to get real support.